If I were to tell you that a boy who was once mercilessly bullied in school, a boy who at one point weighed over 260 pounds and spent his days flipping burgers at a McDonald's in London's Victoria Station, would go on to become one of the most feared world champions in the sport of boxing, you might struggle to believe it. It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood movie, a script written to manipulate your emotions, but this is not fiction. This is the cold, hard reality of Lawrence Okolie, known to the world today as the Sauce. This story is not merely about boxing gloves, bright lights, and championship belts, it is a profound testament to the indomitable power of the human spirit. It is a story that proves that if you possess the will, you can rewrite the very code of your destiny. Lawrence Okolie's journey from an ordinary, clinically obese teenager to an elite athlete is a saga paved with immense physical pain, psychological sacrifice, and an unwavering self-belief that defied all logic. Lawrence was born on December 16, 1992, in Hackney, London, an area that, at the time, was known for its roughness and grit. Born to Nigerian parents who had emigrated to the UK in search of a better life, Lawrence's childhood was far from easy. From a very young age, he was physically large, not just in height but in width. Food became his sanctuary. Whenever he felt sad, anxious, or out of place, he turned to eating for comfort. Slowly but surely, this habit of comfort eating spiraled into a genuine health crisis, and he became clinically obese. In the cruel ecosystem of school life, children can be merciless, and Lawrence became a prime target. He was mocked for his size, called names that chipped away at his dignity, and he slowly retreated into a shell of silence. He would wear XXL shirts, baggy clothes designed to hide the rolls of his stomach, desperately trying to become invisible to the judging eyes of the world. His self-esteem was non-existent, and he genuinely believed that this was his lot in life, to be the fat kid that society had rejected. To help with household expenses and earn some pocket money, a teenage Lawrence took a job at McDonald's. His life fell into a monotonous, gray rhythm. He would go to college, try to avoid eye contact with peers, and then put on that polyester uniform to stand in a hot, greasy kitchen for hours on end. He flipped burgers while managers yelled at him and customers treated him with the indifference often reserved for service workers. He absorbed the abuse silently, believing he didn't deserve anything better. But history has shown us time and time again that destiny can pivot on a single, fleeting moment. For Lawrence, that moment arrived in the summer of 2012. London was hosting the Olympics, and the entire city was vibrating with energy. One day, during a break from his shift at McDonald's, Lawrence sat in the staff room, staring at a television screen broadcasting the boxing finals. He watched Anthony Joshua, a man from a humble background in Watford, stand on the podium. He watched Joshua win the gold medal and become a national hero. In that instant, something clicked in Lawrence's brain. He looked at Joshua and thought, if this man, who looks like me and comes from a background like mine, can achieve this, why can't I? It was a question that ignited a dormant fire within him. At that time, Lawrence was 19 years old. In the world of boxing, starting at 19 is considered ancient. Most champions begin when they are children. Lawrence had never worn a pair of boxing gloves, he didn't know the first thing about footwork, and most importantly, he was drastically unfit. When he voiced his new ambition to his friends and co-workers, they laughed. They looked at his frame, breathless from simple exertion, and told him to stop dreaming. Look at yourself, Lawrence, they said. You're a burger flipper, not an athlete. But Lawrence had stopped listening to the noise. The very next day, he walked into a gym. The beginning was nothing short of hell. He couldn't run for 30 seconds on the treadmill without gasping for air as if his lungs were on fire. His joints ached, his body rebelled, but he refused to quit. He cut out the junk food, his biggest addiction, and replaced it with discipline. After every shift at McDonald's, while his friends went out to party, Lawrence went to the gym to sweat. Slowly, the weight began to melt away. The 120-kilogram frame began to shrink, revealing the athlete hidden beneath. But what surprised everyone, perhaps even Lawrence himself, was that he possessed a natural, God-given gift, power. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches with an abnormally long reach, he had heavy hands. When he hit the heavy bag, the sound echoed through the gym like a gunshot. His transformation was so rapid it defied biological logic. In just 4 years, From 2012 when he was flipping burgers to 2016, he was selected to represent Great Britain at the Rio Olympics. It was a miracle. A boy who hadn't touched gloves at 19 was now an Olympian. Although he didn't win a medal in Rio, he had already won the war against his past self. He had proven that Lawrence Okolie was no longer the invisible, obese teenager. Following the Olympics, Lawrence turned professional, signing with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing, the biggest promoters in the game. It was here that he adopted the moniker The Sauce. The nickname signified that he had a special ingredient, something unique that others lacked. His professional career started with a bang. He began knocking out opponents in the early rounds, his power terrifying anyone who stepped in the ring with him. However, professional boxing is not just about brute strength, it is a chess match of the mind. As he climbed the ranks, he faced criticism. His fights against Isaac Chamberlain and Matty Askin were labeled ugly. Lawrence's style was awkward, he clinched often, he smothered his opponents, and he didn't box with the aesthetic beauty of a technician. Critics called him boring. Trolls on social media attacked him, claiming he had no skill and only relied on his size. This was a mental test. It is one thing to fight a man in the ring, it is another to fight the perception of thousands. But Lawrence doubled down on his mental fortitude. He even wrote a book, Dare to Change Your Life, detailing how he trained his mind to block out negativity. He famously said, "I am not here to entertain you, I am here to win." All the struggle, the criticism, and the sweat culminated on the night of March 20, 2021. Lawrence finally got his shot at the WBO Cruiserweight World title. His opponent was Krzysztof Glowacki, a two-time world champion and a dangerous veteran. Experts predicted a tough, grinding fight. But that night, Lawrence displayed the evolution of his craft. He didn't just brawl, he boxed. He used his long jab to keep the veteran at bay, controlling the distance perfectly. In the sixth round, Lawrence unleashed a perfect right hand. It connected flush with Glowacki's chin. The champion crumpled to the canvas. The referee counted, but he couldn't beat it. Lawrence Okolie was the world champion. The image of him with the belt was powerful. The boy who was too shy to look in the mirror was now the king of the division. He had achieved the impossible. But the script of boxing is rarely a straight line to happiness, it is a roller coaster of highs and devastating lows. The darkest night of Lawrence's career came in May 2023. Destiny arranged a cruel twist, a fight against Chris Billam-Smith. Chris was not just an opponent, he was Lawrence's former training partner and close friend. They had sparred thousands of rounds together. But business is business. The fight took place in Bournemouth, Chris's hometown, in a football stadium packed with 15,000 screaming fans who wanted Lawrence's blood. That night, everything went wrong. Lawrence looked stiff, frustrated, and unable to find his rhythm. The crowd jeered him, the referee deducted points for holding, and Lawrence was knocked down 3 times. After 12 grueling rounds, the decision was read, and the new Lawrence had lost. He lost his world title, he lost his undefeated record, and he lost to his friend. The internet exploded with glee. "The sauce is finished," they typed. People wrote his career obituary, claiming he was exposed and that his run was over. For a fighter, accepting defeat is a jagged pill to swallow, especially when you fall from the summit. Lawrence faced a crossroads. He could make excuses, blame the referee, blame the hostile crowd, or he could accept the reality and rebuild. He realized that making the 200-pound cruiserweight limit was becoming dangerous for his health, his body was simply too big. So, he took a massive gamble. He decided to move up a weight class to the bridgerweight division. But for his return, he didn't choose an easy tune-up fight to regain confidence. He went straight for the jugular. He challenged the world champion, Łukasz Rozanski. Rozanski was a monster. Fighting out of Poland, he had a terrifying record of destroying opponents in the first round. He fought like a bull, rushing in with bad intentions. To make matters worse, Lawrence had to travel to Poland to fight him. He was walking into the lion's den to fight the lion. The boxing world thought he was insane. Lawrence is damaged goods, they said. Rosansky will swarm him and knock him out. It's over. But Lawrence knew something they didn't. He knew his own power. In 2024, the bell rang in Poland. The atmosphere was hostile. As predicted, Rosansky charged at Lawrence like a battering ram, looking to end the fight early. But this time, Lawrence didn't clinch. He didn't run. He met fire with fire. He planted his feet and threw a counter right hand that sent the Polish champion crashing to the floor. The stadium went silent. Rosansky got up, legs wobbly, eyes glazed. Lawrence didn't hesitate. He attacked again. Another knockdown. And then a third. A brutal right hand ended the night. The referee waved it off. In just one round, less than 3 minutes, Lawrence Okolie had annihilated the man everyone feared. He became the WBC Bridgerweight champion of the world. He became a two-weight world champion. He silenced every critic, every troll, and every doubter in the most emphatic way possible. Lawrence Okolie's story is not just for boxing fans, it is a blueprint for life. It teaches us that your starting point does not determine your finishing line. Lawrence could have easily spent his life in that McDonald's kitchen, accepting the label of obese and unworthy that society had placed on him. He could have quit after the Olympics. He could have retired after losing his title. But he dared to believe. Today, he is not just a fighter, he is an author, a musician, a businessman, and a beacon of hope for every kid who feels they don't fit in. He represents the idea that we are all the authors of our own stories. If you are struggling today, if you feel the weight of the world is too heavy, or if people are laughing at your dreams, remember the boy in the McDonald's uniform. Remember the journey from the fryer to the fire of the ring. Remember Lawrence the Sauce Okolie, and tell yourself, if he can change his reality, so can I.